We've all been told that waking up tired is just a normal part of life. But what if I told you your exhaustion isn't really about how much you slept, but what you're doing in the first 60 minutes after you wake up? In this explainer, we're going to break down 7 super simple habits to give you that crash-free, all-day-long kind of energy. So, does this sound familiar? The alarm goes off, you somehow manage to drag yourself out of bed, and you make a beeline straight for the coffee pot, just hoping it kicks in before your day actually begins. And then, like clockwork, 2 p.m. hits and you hit a wall, right? Desperately searching for a sugary snack just to keep your eyes open. Well, that whole cycle is absolutely exhausting, but here's the good news. It is not inevitable.
I mean, just look at this. On the left, that's the vicious cycle most of us are stuck in. You're hitting snooze, you're relying on that instant jolt of caffeine, and then you're facing that brutal afternoon crash. But our goal, over on the right, is something totally different. It's about waking up actually feeling refreshed, having steady, reliable energy, and keeping your focus locked in all day. The bridge between these two realities? It's all in your morning routine.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to understand what's really going on with that morning fatigue cycle. Then, we'll break down some killer habits for your body, your mind, and your fuel. And then, we'll get to the most important part, how you can actually start making this happen.
You see, the core problem usually isn't your sleep. It's that your morning habits are literally working against your body's natural rhythm. What you do in that first hour is what sets the stage for the whole day. It's the difference between sustained energy or a day spent just fighting off exhaustion.
Let's start with the physical stuff. These first 3 habits are all about waking up your body on a cellular level. They send these really clear signals that it's time to be awake, alert, and, energized. Okay, think about this for a second. You've just gone, 7 or 8 hours without drinking a single thing. You wake up dehydrated. Your brain actually shrinks a little bit without enough water, and that is a direct cause of that morning brain fog. So when you pour coffee, which is a diuretic by the way, on top of that, you are basically setting yourself up for a massive energy crash later. You need what I like to call an inner shower first.
And the fix for this is so simple. Just keep a glass of water right by your bed. Before you do anything else, just drink it. And that little pinch of salt or squeeze of lemon, it's not just for flavor. It actually helps your body absorb the water way more effectively by replenishing electrolytes you lost overnight. Okay, now for some really cool science. Your body runs on this internal 24-hour clock, right? It's called your circadian rhythm. And when you get sunlight in your eyes, it literally flips a switch in your brain. It slams the brakes on melatonin, that's the hormone that makes you sleepy, and it triggers a healthy rise in cortisol to wake you up naturally.
And listen, this does not have to be complicated at all. Just step outside for a few minutes. If the weather's bad or you can't get out, just opening a window and looking out is still super effective. And hey, if you wake up before the sun, just flipping on some bright overhead lights will start sending that same wake up signal to your brain.
After a whole night of being still, your muscles and tissues get really stiff. And that stiffness, it totally contributes to feeling lethargic. Just 5 minutes of gentle movement acts like a pump, pushing fresh, oxygen-rich blood to your brain and all your muscles. Honestly, it's a more effective and sustainable wake-up call than a shot of espresso.
Okay, so your body is awake. Now it's time to prepare your mind. These next couple of habits are all about creating a state of calm focus instead of, starting the day in a total panic.
When you first wake up, your brain is in this really relaxed and super impressionable state. So if the very first thing you do is grab your phone, open your email, and see some stressful message, or start scrolling through crazy news, you instantly hijack your own nervous system. You go from calm to reactive in seconds, and that just drains your mental energy for the entire day. The key here is to make this easy on yourself. A cheap, old-school alarm clock removes the main excuse for grabbing your phone first thing. And if it's charging in another room, say the kitchen, that physical distance creates the buffer you need to give your brain a peaceful start.
Decision fatigue is a huge, invisible energy drain. Staring at a to-do list with 50 items just creates overwhelm before you've even had breakfast. But by asking yourself this one simple question, you just cut through all the noise. You identify what your real priority is, and that provides this immense mental clarity and saves your energy for what actually matters. All right, on to our final set of habits. We've woken up our body, we've focused our mind. Now it is time to give them the right fuel for some sustained performance.
This just perfectly illustrates the problem with most of our breakfasts. A muffin or sugary cereal, that causes a massive spike in your blood sugar. You get this quick burst of fake energy, but it's followed by a brutal crash that leaves you feeling tired and craving even more sugar. A breakfast anchored with protein, though, keeps your blood sugar stable, giving you a slow, steady release of energy that lasts for hours.
Now, this might be the most counterintuitive habit of them all, but it is based on pure chemistry. See, when you sleep, a chemical called adenosine builds up, and that's what makes you feel drowsy. If you drink coffee right away, the caffeine just blocks the adenosine temporarily. But when that caffeine wears off, all the adenosine that's been waiting around comes rushing back, and that causes that classic 2 p.m. crash.
So let's just look at the timeline here. When you wake up, just let your body clear out that sleepiness on its own using the other habits we talked about: water, sunlight, movement. After about 90 minutes, most of that adenosine is gone. Now when you have your coffee, you get all the alertness and focus without setting yourself up for a crash later.
Okay, I know that was a lot of information, and the goal here is not to overwhelm you or ask you to be perfect. The goal is just to make one small, sustainable change.
And this is so important. If you try to do all 7 of these habits tomorrow morning, you are setting yourself up for failure. The key to real, lasting change isn't some massive overhaul. It's consistency with one small thing. So here's your challenge. Pick just one. I'm serious, not 2, not 3, just one single habit to focus on for this next week. It could be the glass of water, it could be the 5 minutes of sunlight. Honestly, the specific habit doesn't matter nearly as much as your commitment to just being consistent with it. And that's really what this is all about. Building a new routine isn't about being perfect. It's about building trust with yourself. Each time you keep that small promise to drink the water, to step outside, you build momentum and you build self-confidence. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Looking at everything we just covered, which single habit feels the most doable, maybe the most impactful for you right now? Which one are you going to commit to trying tomorrow morning?